Singapore is a political enemy for the ruling party, for UMNO. It's not for us. Though the both party, PN and also PAP, they are right-wing party, they are adversaries, but that is a legacy issue. We shouldn't bear this kind of legacy issue. I think I would rather argue that religious extremism, terrorism, and piracy are the enemies of Malaysia rather than Singapore. Protecting the sovereignty and national interests at South China Sea and other sea lines of communication should be the paramount concern of our defense force. I argue that. And also, Bangsa Sulu Army, which landed in Sabah 2013, should be our enemy also. And we should drive them out. So I think it's our Malaysia threat analysis maybe is quite a little bit problematic. I think it's timely for us to reanalyze it. Second topic, arms procurement. Based on my past experience, political concerns always override the military demand. My own calculation, throughout the previous 10 Malaysian plan, from 1966 to 2015, we had already spent around 80 billion ringgit in arms development or defense development. Maybe you guys don't know how the military procurement is doing. It is the process, how it is carried out. It is inside the book. I have got the insight from the book. Maybe you can refer to the book. I won't elaborate here. Although this is a pure military procurement, but many times non-military affairs are given the priority, namely economic, developmental, and political concerns. Sometimes political driven arms procurement are very highly controversial. I just want to give you one telling example. MiG-39 and acquisition. It was done in 1990s. Maybe perhaps you guys don't know very familiar about the assets, but this is a so-called very state-of-the-art our combat aircraft. It is an interceptor, and it is a very well-known asset during that time. A very senior our Malaysian defense officer once he told New York Times in 1992. He said, although the initial cost of MiG-39 was much lesser than for any of the 4 Western fighters being considered by Malaysia, during that time it was F-18 and some other military aircraft also considered. But it was not yet clear how expensive it would be to operate the Commonwealth plane over its full life. So, of course, it remained anonymous to give this warning. But despite the warning was given, the deal was still in between Malaysia and Russia on 7th of June 1994 to import 16 MiG-39Ns and 2 MiG-39 NUBs. NUB is twin-seated and is single-seated. And after that, the outcome is very obvious. In a written parliamentary answer in 2010, the spares and maintenance costs of MiG-39 are ballooning to 49 million. While F-18D, which is produced by America, is only 39 million. MiG-39 is 70% higher, maintenance cost is higher than F-18. It resulted the Air Force decided to retire the whole fleet in 2015, which is this year. And MiG-29 hasn't reached its full service circle yet. So it is such a waste for me. Normally for combat aircraft, the life cycle service is around 30 years. However, it's around 30 years, so it's going to be ended, its service. So the warning and the worry becomes materialized. And the topic is about how transparent are we? We talk a lot about defense, things like that. Of course, if you go to MPH and maybe other bookstore, there are a lot of security-related issues and journal. Most of the books and so journals, they are directed and their target audience are those scholars, academicians. They are not easy for the layman like us to understand. It talks about security strategy, talks about defense policy, which is not really relevant to us. For people, normal people like us, maybe a transport issue, maybe urban issue, housing issue, which is much more relevant to us. So, for laymen like us, we don't know what the defense force is doing right now. Maybe you guys don't know. According to parliamentary answer, actually we have two versions of defense policy. One is open version, and the other one is secret version. The open version contains general principles of national defense like strategy, interest, concern, concepts, and strategies. The secret version is issued in a restricted manner for reference purposes to the top brasses of the armed forces and MINDEF. It contains the details of operational and implementation aspects. And another thing, perhaps you guys don't know, there is one program which is Tamin Sari SK-98. This is our Malaysian first guided missile program, and it was classified as secret under 1972 Official Secret Act. It was set by our former Deputy Defense Minister in 2010. But, well, you can see from the picture, even though it's classified already, but they have shown it to the whole world during a Merdeka Day military parade. So what kind of secret is it? I don't know, maybe. People are generally agree that national security is an important issue. Military secrecy frustrates the attempt to seek answers to important questions. But this poses a problem not only for normal public like us, but also to federal lawmakers also. So I think a defense white paper is a very crucial thing to increase our defense transparency. Perhaps within these Southeast Asian countries, even Indonesia, Cambodia, Brunei, the Philippines, and even communist group countries like Vietnam, they have all published defense white paper except for Malaysia. We are a democratic country, but we haven't published any single paper about it. Another transparent issue is about, this is a COVID. I call it a Malaysian IM10 ringgit budget. Can you believe that? Military procurement, it just cost you 10 ringgit. Yes, it happened in 2010. This picture I just quoted from our 2010 federal budget. You can see a red circle over there. I will enlarge it. 3 perkhidmatan. So this is 2010 budget. It was only allocated 10 ringgit. What 10 ringgit can buy? I don't know. But previous years, 2009, it was such amount. 2008, it was such amount. Something around 245 million. 2009 is around 37 million. So, but however, in 2010, it was only 10 ringgit. So what kind of military transparency? Luckily, I get a parliamentary answer about it. Former Deputy Defense Minister, he said that in Senate, the reason why 10 ringgit was asserted for the 3 services in 2010 budget, it was because to create a symbolize a particular project. Definitely, he didn't reveal what 10 ringgit item it was. Okay, how about international anti-graft watchdogs viewers? In the Open Budget Index 2012, Malaysia was ranked 62, 7th place lower than 2010's index. Okay, we have to compare with other countries also. Even Indonesia and Philippines, they are ranked higher than Malaysia. It's too small, but cannot see here. Indonesia and Philippines, they are higher here. This is Malaysia here. And maybe more surprisingly is about Bangladesh. Bangladesh even score higher than us. They were ranked at 28, placed at 28. Malaysia was at 65. So it shows that our budget transparency is very doubtful. We have to really think about that. Another international indicator, the transparency of defense budgets report. Malaysia is ranked in the category of moderate to low. The counterparts for Malaysia in this class are Afghanistan, Vietnam, Rwanda, India, Thailand, Tanzania, among others. On top of that, countries from Africa like Botswana, Ghana, and even Kenya, they are ranked even higher than us. I think it's quite shocking for me. The fourth topic is about Malaysian Defence Force ratio composition. It's very, very controversial. I want to quote Ahmad Hamidi, his statement again. The low number of Chinese and Indian recruits in the military could be due to the lack of patriotism. I don't know whether you guys still remember. His statement caused a lot of controversy during 1920. And a lot of people hunt down him during that time. Because for non-Malays people, they don't join army or defense force, it doesn't mean that they are not patriotic. You just simply simplify that they don't join armed forces, which means that they are equal to not patriotic. It's completely wrong. You got to rethink about that. Racial composition in Malaysian armed forces in 2009. You can see that, just see the total number. Malay, 85%, Chinese, 397, which is very surprisingly low. Indian, 1,000. Others, 50,000, 18,000. Others are, those are non-Malays like Iban, Kalazan, and also those is Malaysian Bumi Putra. It's very low. How about 40 years ago? You can see that non-Malay accounted for around 50% of officers, 16% of other ranks, Army, Navy, 49%, Air Force, even more than Malays, 54%. But why after 40 years, the whole scenario changed? Why are there so few non-Malays after 40 years of development? The oft-repeated official answer to this question is that non-Malays are not interested in highly disciplined, rigid book conditions that require a determined fighting spirit shouldered with the added sacrifice of low pay. Is it true? Perhaps the Rakyat would like to know what else within the country the government is of the serious opinion that non-Malays are not interested in highly disciplined, rigid book conditions that require a determined and fighting spirit. Is the minister purporting that non-Malay youth tend not to participate in scouts, police, cadet, and St. John Bills, among others, in reformed societies? I think he did. His argument is highly doubtful. After the first Malaysian Indian Chief of Navy, Thana Balasingham, retired in 1976, non-Malays were rarely promoted above 2-star general, 2-star. The disparity is even worse for non-Malay Bumi Putra. Despite non-Malay Bumi Putra accounted for more than 10%, but the highest office held is a colonel before 2013. Only after 2013, a Dayak military officer, Stephen Buntak, promoted to a brigadier general, later to Army's 1st Division commander, and conferred with 2-star general. And later, we got a non-Malay military officer, finally promoted to a 3-star general. His name is Stevenson. These are criteria for promotion. The first is completion of the required courses at Staff College or Defence College. The second is passing of promotion examination. Disciplinary classifications, do they involve in seniority? There is a vacancy, support of the commanding officer or superior, approval by the Chief of Services and Armed Forces Promotion Board. It almost seems that as if there is an unwritten policy that prevents non-Malays from being promoted to a higher rank, despite the procedures stated above. Or is it just those non-Malays are consistently failing to meet these requirements? It seems that an independent scientific inquiry must be conducted to find out the actual reasons for such low Malay participation, rather than just accusing non-Malays are not patriotic. Another parliamentary answer. Priority was given to British Loyal Malay Regiment to serve peacekeeping operations under the United Nations and Organization of OIC umbrella. But this begs another question. Will other regiments be given the other priority also? Why? Because if other regiments are not given chances and opportunity to perform, would they have chance to be promoted? I'm not challenging or asking the priority given to the IND. I just want to ask that should other non-Malay regiments should be given the same opportunity also? Okay, the 5th issue. Who should be held responsible for Lahadatu issue that stand out? This was a picture that was taken during 2008. I was a journalist at that time, and then I was invited to visit Pulau Layang-Layang and also Sabah forward bases, military bases, right before the Lahadatu issue. After enjoying peace for more than 2 decades, Malaysia was again struck by the armed conflict in February 2013. A raiding militant group landed in Lahadatu, Sabah, and they claimed that they were the successors of the original sovereign of Sabah, Sulu Sultan. In the early stage, Malaysian government claimed that everything was under control, but the promise was soon invalidated when an armed conflict took place and several police officers were brutally killed. Even though the tragedy was finally contained, some key questions still remain unanswered, and the riot kept from knowing the truth. Who are the Suli militants? Did the Malaysian security forces know their existence prior to February 2013? What did they negotiate? I think the riot deserves to know the fact and the truth. And before the tragedy took place, I was there, and I was exposed to a military briefing, and particularly on 10th of August 2008, the forward-based senior military officer, Commander Hanafi, who was the Markas Angkatan Tugas Bersama at the time, he presented us with this information. There were 6 threats. First one is Kumpulan Abu Sayyaf, Missouri Brigade Group, Moro National Liberation Front, MNLF, and MILF, and Kumpulan Kidnapping for Ransom. Those 5 I recognized them, but suddenly I saw one, Bangsa Sulu Royal Army. How come? What's that? During that time I was quite puzzled about that. What was that? How come suddenly appear a new threat? Then I asked questions. I asked the Markas Angkatan Tugas Bersama 2nd Commander, Brigadier General Dr. Sheikh Mohsin Sheikh Hassan. He answered that the descendants of Sulu Sultan were recruiting Sabah Sulu people into the BSRA, and it was depicted as a security threat to Malaysia. I was shocked at the time. And I asked, why no action taken against them in 2008? And he answered that PDRM was monitoring them, and for the time being, they were just touring in Sabah, not yet posing any substantial security threats. And I wasn't satisfied with this answer. How could the authority not take any action when you know that they are raising army on your soil, in your territory? And Najib arrived the following day. Yeah. And I managed to ask him. He presented a souvenir to me on the following day, 11th of August 2008. And I asked him, he told me that the authority is investigating the possibility of the descendants of Sulu Sultan inciting Sabah's Sulu people to join BSI, Bangsa Sulu Royal Army. But he refused to give any detail about it. That happened in 2008. And after that, I got nothing, I can't do anything, I couldn't do anything because I am just a normal journalist. I couldn't lead the army, go to fight, I couldn't do anything since all the army and also police, they knew that they were there. So at the time, I predicted that BSRA would be a time bomb for Sabah. It was in 2008. Okay? The whole thing took place in 2013, and police forces brutally killed. Everything happened. And in the aftermath, I tried to gather some more evidence to support the very fact that the government, particularly Najib, has had knowledge all along what the Sulu army was doing in Sabah. I managed to get a court case judgment. Hassan Haji Ali Basari versus Deputy Prosecutor. And the judgments were delivered, I think, in 2013. And Hassan Basari, he was former special branch police officer. He was alleged who was the insider of Bangsa Sulu Army. He was planted by Bangsa Sulu Army in special branch, Sabah special branch, and he leaked all the information to Bangsa Sulu Army. That's why the Bangsa Sulu Army managed to know that the military and also police operation, and they managed to escape. And he was charged and he was sentenced to jail. And in his judgment, in 2002, it's unclear here, but actually it's inside the book, actually all are inside the book. He was tasked with monitoring the visit of Datu Ismail Kiram to Lahad Datu, but he was not asked to present a written report to his superiors. He claimed that our police officer PD Yamen had known this Bangsa Sulu Army way back to even earlier to 2002. It's more shocking. But unfortunately, the court didn't instruct our police officer to conduct a further investigation. Luckily, another thing, through our MP, Liu Jintong, I asked the questions in Parliament. Okay, I asked, did our Malaysian Defence Ministry know that the existence of Bangsa Sulu Army right before 2008? And the official answer given by the Parliament and also Ministry of Defence was, ancaman keselamatan oleh kumpulan Sulu, militan Sulu, sudah disedari oleh awal sebelum 2008 lagi dan hanya dikategorikan sebagai ancaman dalam negeri. Official answer, they knew it, and it was very shocking. My argument is like, if Najib or the security force had taken the early steps to prevent such things from happening, those police forces who were brutally killed, they were not need to be killed. They were innocent. Such preemptive early steps should be taken to neutralize the whole situation way back to 2008, not to wait until 2013. So who should bear the full responsibility for this? I think I leave it to you guys to decide. Okay, after I've talked the 5 topics, let's back to the final questions. The security sector agenda. According to the survey conducted by the Ministry of Defense from 13 November 2008 to 13 January 2009, and the result of the survey was shocking again. 50.7% of Malaysians, all the respondents, were not confident of the armed forces' capability. After we have spent around few billions, tens of billions ringgit in defense force, but more than half people, they don't have any confidence about them. And also, 54% of those surveyed believing that the total defense can protect the country, but they don't know what is defense, total defense. What is that? It shows that we are really lack of conveying the defense information to the people. So I think it's right time and the timing for us to embark on the defense reform agenda. Otherwise, people still don't have any confidence about our defense force, and also they don't know what our defense force are doing. Do we need MRI screening a machine to scan all of this kind of stuff? No. If we have very transparent things or monitoring mechanism in place, we don't need this kind of stuff. I propose a simple thing only. Arms acquisition exceeding 100 million must be tabled in Parliament for review. Setting up an independent review panel to assess arms deals. All arms procurement contracts should include an anti-commission clause, which is very important. A lot of people know that arms deal got kicked off, something like that. And mandatory open tender procurement. Making public the open tendering evaluation report. Maybe some people will question that it's something to do with our military secrecy. Should we review this tendering project, the report? Yes. Japan always review their tendering evaluation report to the public, such as when they procure the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, they review the whole process to the public, and then the public know that, oh, these are the reasons why the government buy these airplanes. Why? Because they have considered so many reasons and also technical specifications. And auditing every high-value acquisition. Setting up Parliamentary Security Committee, it is part of a parliamentary reform initiative also. It's very important to let all the parliamentarians to scrutinize the budget and also all those arms procurement. And also formulating national security policy. I think it's very absurd formulation sometimes. We have foreign policy, we have defense policy, we have many policies, but we don't have national security policy. National security policy is an overarching policy, which should be a mother of defense policy and also foreign policy. In the United States, national security policy is the mother of policy to oversee national military policy, national defense policy. But in Malaysia, we don't have this policy. I think it's time for us to really talk about it and maybe to formulate it also. Reinserting the armed forces is political. I think it's very important. So recently we read from many news report that armed forces are getting involved in politics. Some armed forces members are identified in political event. They were recording the drama, politicians' speech, something like that, and they were caught and they were blocked by the people. I think the armed forces shouldn't embark on this kind of things. This will remain apolitical. It's very important. And definitely, the number 10 is publishing defense white paper regularly. These are the efforts I try to promote and also to help to really boost up our military defense development and also transparency also. Thank you.